Good morning. Welcome to your 8:15 daily operations weather briefing. We have a cloudy day out there today, and that will continue as we go throughout the day, as we do have a frontal boundary moving through the area throughout the day, and then we will see some clearing as we get into the overnight hours as high pressure builds in ahead of our weekend. And we will see some gusty winds pick up today. We are expecting it to stay below the wind advisory criteria, but we'll see a breezy day as we go throughout our workday. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, we do see that frontal boundary in this map is just to our north, but it has progressed a little bit further, a little closer to us, and we'll continue to move through the area, and we'll see those winds shift and become a bit gusty as we go throughout the day today. Not expecting much in the way of precip, maybe a few sprinkles in the area, but for the most part it should be a dry frontal passage, and we'll have high pressure building in again behind that. Looking at our current conditions as of 8 this morning, we have a broken deck at 10,000 feet, broken deck at 25,000 feet. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 7 knots. Temperature fairly mild around 52, and relative humidity at 62%. If we take a look at the satellite imagery with the overlay of some composite reflectivity, we can see those showers kind of dissipating, and again, not expecting much in the way of precip. Um, Winds in our area are relatively light at the moment, but we will see those start to pick up behind the front as we can see some gusts and winds of about 15 knots behind that frontal passage. Taking a look at the short-term model with the reflectivity and the cloud cover, again, we're expecting a cloudy day, probably becoming overcast as we get into the afternoon, but not much in the way of showers. Again, maybe a few sprinkles here or there, but cloudy throughout much of the day, and not really seeing a break in those clouds until we get into the early evening hours, where we'll see those cloud decks start to break up. Still a few clouds lingering around as we get into the overnight hours, and then maybe a chance for some clearing. But if we zoom out and look at the NAM model for the next couple of days, we do see that high pressure builds in behind this front for our Friday, which will be a cooler, nice cool down before we see a warm weekend. And then that high pressure will move off to the east, and we'll see some warm air move in for the weekend. But again, not expecting any precip for at least the next couple days. So if we take a look at the 24-hour weather risk chart, we are green across the board. Again, we will see some slightly breezy conditions, but expecting winds to stay below that 25 knot advisory threshold. And again, not expecting any precip, anything substantial. So green across the board for that. We will see temperatures rise a little bit depending on the movement of that front. We should see some a slight increase in the temperatures as we move towards the noon and early afternoon hours, getting up to a high of about 55, maybe hitting 56 or 57 again, depending on how fast that front moves through the area. And we will see winds start to pick up as that front approaches, and behind that front, still some gusty winds as we go into the late afternoon and evening. Again, cloudy day, likely see overcast skies throughout the day today, and not starting to see those break up until we get towards the 8 o'clock hour, and by about 2 in the morning on Friday we'll see maybe just a few clouds hanging around. We will see temperatures drop below this cold front, expecting a low of about 28 as we get into the morning hours of Friday, but those winds will lighten up a bit. Looking at the next couple days, Friday, much cooler day with a high only of about 42, so that's slightly below our average for this time of year. Partly cloudy, not expecting any precip, and the wind should be fairly calm. As we get into Friday evening, we'll see some clouds start to build in, and we'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Seasonable night with a low only of around 31, which is about on par for average this time of year. As we get into Saturday, we'll see that things start to warm up for our weekend. We'll see mostly cloudy skies, and we could see some slightly breezy conditions as we get into the afternoon on Saturday, but slightly above average temperatures with a high of 56. That wraps up your 8:15 daily operations weather briefing. We'll be back again at 10 a.m. to take a look at the extended forecast. Enjoy the rest of your morning.